In December of 2012, THQ declared for bankruptcy, marking the end of an era. The company that published some of our favorite WWE games went broke, which led to a domino effect into Take-Two acquiring the WWE games license, which then gives us over a decade worth of 2K games. Today I decided to play every WWE game under the 2K umbrella, starting with WWE 2K14. This game to me is the greatest wrestling game of all time. From presentations, voice taunts, the gameplay, the fluidity, everything was just different. If you missed out on this game, I'm sorry. Go on ahead and get you a used version of the game and go play it. Shout out to my dad. I begged him to go get it for me at midnight. It was the greatest experience ever when I was able to get my hands on this game. The characters, the roster, everything, it just looked great. Lift finishers were implemented into the gameplay. It was a great time. One reversal buttons. I just have so many good things to say about this game. When you go into creations, you are able to do so much, from championships to actually being able to create your own special move, which is now not in the game. That was dope. You're able to even fix the speed of what you want the move to look like. It was just a crazy time. They let you do anything and everything that you wanted to do in this game, in every single aspect of what you could create. I think that that is something that we're missing nowadays, and WWE 2K14 delivered. And talking about delivered, this mode is something that we miss. Story mode. This is something that we are begging for now. Being able to even put a referee in an interview, put a title around his waist, and you could even change the location of the interview and where it's going. You could type with a keyboard what you want the referee to say, and it'll come out in a box under. I just get so passionate talking about this game because this to me was wrestling. This to me was a wrestling game, and this is why it is still my favorite till this day. Just the ability to do things in story mode was just different and fun and allowed us to create magic. And we can't forget what this game was marketed around, and that was 30 years of WrestleMania Showcase. It was a great experience. I loved it. I thought that this is what a showcase is supposed to look like at the time. It got me on the train for it, and I'm thankful that I was able to go on ahead and play that mode out, simply because it allowed me to live out things that I wasn't able to live out before because I was really young at the time. So I thought that it was a really dope experience, and with that experience we got the side quest of Defeat the Streak mode, which I was really hoping that we got this year with Beat the Tribal Chief mode, but unfortunately we didn't. But this mode was literally amazing. I loved this mode. I thought that it was great. So honestly, just that experience alone is something that is memorable and always brings me back to this game. With that being said, we're going to go on ahead and wrap up 2K14. Let's go on ahead and get into 2K15. This game was... Wait, hold on. Before we dive deeper, let me go on ahead and reel you guys back in. WWE 2K15 actually ended up being delayed for next generation consoles. It was supposed to release on October 28th, instead released on November 18th. We got this news just a month and some change before, and for me personally, even though it was just about 3 weeks, I was sick as a kid to see that game being delayed because we thought we were going to get all the 2K14 features plus those 2K15 graphics. I thought I was in for a hell of a treat. But with that being said, I think it's only right we play both versions. Let's go on ahead and play WWE 2K15 on Xbox 360. This version of the game on Xbox 360 was actually pretty cool. It was something that I really wasn't expecting. Yes, I bought it. I actually have this downloaded on my 360. I just couldn't wait till the next gen version to come out. But here you guys see you're able to grab the ring bell. You just still have freedom within the gameplay. It did feel very similar to 2K14. There wasn't really that big of a change. Even though 2K14 to me was so amazing, I felt the same way about 15 at the time because I just felt like, okay, this is just a step up on gameplay. We have a better roster, and then we have even a better showcase, which this showcase was awesome. This is one of the ones that I actually go back to quite a lot. CM Punk blowing the kiss on Vince McMahon, it was just a really good showcase. The in-game cutscenes, it just showed me like, hey, this is great. And that's part of the reason why I fell in love with the showcase mode, and that's really what it was at that time. We have a Who Got Next mode for NXT, which I actually thought was pretty cool. You're able to go through certain superstars that were in NXT and actually fight some of their matches, so I thought that was dope, and I'm glad that they went ahead and added that in. And that was a bit different because that was not in the next gen version of 2K15. I believe that this game actually brought the biggest graphical difference that we've ever seen in a WWE game. John Cena looked amazing. I remember these screenshots. I was so hyped for this game. Daniel Bryan looked great as well. Randy Orton. I just remember seeing these screenshots and I was like, whoa. There was a John Cena Randy Orton screenshot that I initially saw before pre-ordering, and I was like, yo, this is insane. Like, I've never ever seen these graphics, and I think that I still stand on it, man. These graphics were almost ahead of their time. Like, getting this at that point was actually nuts. Like, yeah, we were, you know, on the Xbox One, whatever, but like, these graphics were actually crazy. People mentioned the physics. I don't really remember the physics being too crazy, but I was also young at the time. On my revisit, I didn't see nothing that really stood out about the physics, but some people really say that, hey, there was ragdoll physics. Maybe you guys remember, I don't know. But AJ Lee being in this game as well gave me a little bit of nostalgia, I ain't gonna lie, seeing her skipping around. Hopefully one day we are able to get her, but the gameplay stands out because it is way more sim than what we were used to getting. It was way more slowed down. It was different. You know what I mean? There was really, you know, just something different to the gameplay. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't great, but it was okay. It was different. It was acceptable at the time, being that it was the first next gen version. You see the creation suite, very limited. We only had like moveset and entrance and superstar. It was a little bit odd. With that being said, we did get the My Career edition in WWE 2K15, which was actually cool. It had fans, you know, happy. But aside from that, what did this game really offer? You know, it had a showcase and whatnot, but I really feel like we were missing a lot with this game. And WWE 2K16, let's go on ahead and see how they followed up. This game was interesting. We were coming off of the biggest graphical jump in the franchise, honestly. You look at Stone Cold, looked amazing. Dean Ambrose looked amazing. But again, the one thing that continuously stood out to me with these revisits is how slow the gameplay was during this time. Like, it was just too sim. It didn't even really feel that fun. Like, I enjoyed 2K15 at the time because I felt like the graphics were just insane, but it was like, all right, that wore off. Now let's go on ahead and focus back on the gameplay. It's not that it was bad. I just feel like it didn't really fit my cup of tea, and it just really wasn't all that to me in terms of like the fun factor. It wasn't really hitting that. I was used to the 2K14 fun factor just a lot more. You look at the showcase, the cutscene, Stone Cold, Jake the Snake Roberts. I really liked it, man. This was probably, you know, one of my favorite parts of all these games, just the showcase. It felt like at the low points, showcase was there to be the bright point and uplift these games to, you know, the potential that they could have possibly had at the time. The Stone Cold promo, getting that to a T was awesome too. The universe mode UI is actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, like just looking at it now and going back, I thought this is like really good. Everything is laid out. Yes, it's very similar to what we have nowadays, but I really like the way it shows the rankings and everything for all the wrestler with the championships. Kind of makes you look back and be like, oh, that's, you know, that's kind of cool. It stands out. Aside from that though, like when you're looking into creations, you see Championship and Arena finally made a comeback after it was kind of cut on next gen 2K15. Like that game was really stripped down to the T, guys. Like if you look back from that game to where we are now, just kind of crazy. Just a sidebar there, but you look at the My Career, them following up on what we got on 15 was kind of cool. You got my boy Lord Tenzai over there cooking it up, you know, and I thought My Career was actually cool at the time. I was actually looking forward to My Career every single year that it came out. I honestly thought that after a point, it kind of started to fall off for me, but nonetheless, it was a fun addition to the game at that point, at least for me, because the game barely had anything else to offer. The showcase was cool, but it just felt like we were missing so much. Like story mode was truly missed for me around this time because it was something that was just removed from one year to another. So just my 2 cents with that. Let's go on ahead and see what 2K17 had to offer me on my revisit. WWE 2K17 then comes out, and I remember not really feeling this game as much either. It just feels like it just continually just went down as the years went on, and 2K17 just continued doing that for me. There was no showcase mode on there off rip. You had to wait for DLC. There was just not really much in this game. You had universe mode and you had my career. And my career at that point was a little bit played out for me. A lot of it was just repetitive at some point as well for that. But the gameplay did feel a little bit more sped up, and the backstage brawl was actually opened up to the point where it was almost considered a free roam. You can go into any room you want. You can just do whatever you basically wanted back there. And it started with a really cool, scene, as you guys just seen, where Rusev and Randy Orton were just beating each other and punching each other right before it actually allowed me to play. And just the free roam and being able to grab different weapons such as a briefcase, things like that, that's what made the backstage brawl fun. I didn't play this game as much, but anytime that I was on this game, backstage brawl was the first thing I did because of the freedom that you had. Go into any room you want, interact with basically anything back there. It was just a fun experience, and this is really the only thing that I can take with me from 2K17, and that was just the backstage brawling and just that being introduced to a larger level and just degree. But aside from that, even on my revisit, it didn't really give me any nostalgia, and I'm just kind of just happy to move past this game. Let's go on ahead and get into 2K18. All right, I got on WWE 2K18, and I'm not gonna lie, this game was pretty bare bones. I mean, yes, the creations were there, but the roster was pretty cool, don't get me wrong. But where was the showcase in this game? I remember all the games having a showcase. Couldn't find it on this game. I didn't know 2K17 had it on DLC, but this game seems like it didn't have anything at all. But nonetheless, gameplay here, I felt like they finally started to speed it up a little bit. I felt good about the gameplay, but again, there was really nothing that this game really offered. This was actually one of the first WWE 2K games that I actually did not pre-order and I bought after the release. It was interesting though, but I think I've had a better experience with other WWE 2K games, but this one was pretty cool, I guess. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you guys did enjoy 2K18 at the time. Was it good? Was it not? Because following up, 2K19 put a stamp on WWE 2K games forever. Let's go on ahead and get into it. WWE 2K19 was actually different, but what in the world was this white ass screen? I just gotta put that out there. We first jumped into the Daniel Bryan showcase, and man, was this good. This was a pleasant surprise in the series because we finally got showcase back after barely getting it in 17 where it was DLC, and 18 just didn't have it at all. 19 gave us showcase back, and man, it was a fun experience. It was a pleasant experience, and coming off of Daniel Bryan's ride where he won the championship and being able to replay that was very cool. I went back and played back one of the matches, which I thought was fun. It was the first one where John Cena and DB went at it on Velocity, and it was pretty fun. And one thing that stood out to me was the gameplay, right? The gameplay was very sim styled, but man, was it fun. Man, was it great. I love the sim styled gameplay that this game brought. It just felt like a perfect balance of just a little bit of fast, a little bit of sim, and everything just felt like it made sense. The presentation, the character models, the roster, I mean, AJ Styles blew me away when I first saw this game. When this game first came out, I didn't get my hands on it right away because I was a little bit skeptical. I was a little bit scared. But once I heard that it was time, I definitely got my hands on this game and was on PC. Shout out to the modding community. If you know, you know. They were working hard on this game while 2K20 wasn't really doing its thing. Let's go on ahead and jump into 2K20 and let's talk about the disaster this game was. WWE 2K20, man oh man, this game is memorable, and it's very memorable because it was complete ass. The roster was cool, the main menus was cool, but what really worked in this game? You know what I mean? And I gotta be just bold with this game because man, I remember the experience I had when I played this game. The 4 Horsewomen showcase was actually pretty cool, but you know what? That was the only thing that actually worked the way it was supposed to from what I could remember, I love the cutscenes, I love the story. It started off with Natalya and Charlotte. I went ahead and replayed that match myself. But again, you look at the UI, it stands out because you got the wrestlers on it. It was pretty cool, you know what I mean? Jeff Hardy being in the game was also cool too. I do miss Jeff Hardy nowadays. But again, it just felt like nothing really worked in this game. I couldn't even lean a table properly. And this was gameplay that I captured while making this video. Just till this day, it still don't work. This was just a miserable attempt at execution. The WWE 2K Originals thing was actually pretty cool, very creative. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Again, just wasn't executed properly, even though the creativity was there. I just don't have many good things to say about this game, and I'm sure other creators don't either. This was one of those games, man, where it just kind of let me down, and that's just what it is. Now, let's go on ahead and get into WWE 2K21. So about that, yeah, we never really actually got WWE 2K21, as you guys know. This game was actually canceled. The news broke by IGN in April of 2020. It was announced by WWE in their quarterly earnings. We were not getting 2K21. Unfortunately for fans, it was bad news, but you know what? It was the right direction to take in the series, where it felt like it just hit rock bottom coming off of 2K20. It was one of those games, man, where it just received a lot of backlash, and it just wasn't a good game, and it wasn't worth anyone's money. Jukes had just taken their ball and went home, and now the ball was fully in Take-Two's hands. And we'll have to see what they did with that. Let's go on ahead and get into WWE 2K22, where it was the reboot, the refresh that we really needed at that point. WWE 2K22 actually gave us the craziest graphical difference since 2K15. You look at this game and the graphics were insane. The roster was good. I enjoyed going back and revisiting all of these games because of the roster. Like back then when we first got the game, maybe the rosters weren't all that great, but like going back now and playing with wrestlers that I haven't seen in a game in a really long time was cool. I remember seeing pictures, trailers of this game, and I was like, man, this game looks absolutely fantastic. Getting in here and playing it again really showed me, like, from 19 to 22, that was a really big graphical difference. The game just looked crispy, looked clear. I just don't even know how to really explain it. The one thing that I really hated just playing it back was the camera. I really hate how zoomed in it is. I feel like that was something that they were trying new at the time, but it really didn't work out. So just looking back too, my GM was also something that returned in 2K22, and it wasn't the greatest, and I still feel like I am more of a universe mode guy. This mode hasn't really caught my attention as much as it has to others, but being able to manage your roster, sign legends, and just do different things throughout this game, I'm sure that that was cool too for people. This game also introduced the worst showcase. I don't even want to talk about it, bro. That slingshot mechanic was absolutely just not the greatest. Like, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I am not a fan, and that was something that really ruined the showcase for me. Aside from that, though, I do feel like this game is actually underrated. Like, just the jump that it allowed it to make, and just everything else with the new control system and all that, I really feel like 2K22 was actually okay. You know, it wasn't the greatest, but I feel like it was worth the wait that we had to go on ahead and go through after 2K20. 2K23 was actually just a follow-up to 2K22. That's what it really felt like. Graphics very similar, gameplay very similar, not too many big additions gameplay-wise. Showcase still felt like a chore. It didn't feel like it was something fun. It felt like I was just playing this for the sake of getting my unlockables. The slingshot mechanic just made the experience just terrible. But the one big addition that I can say was groundbreaking, and it felt like they were finally taking this game just out of the wrestling realm and doing more, was the War Games match. Being able to get this 2 rings, 2 cages, you know, being able to get up to 8 people, I believe it was, in the ring at the same time with all of that going on. It really felt like they were doing something different at that point, and I feel like it took a massive stride in that regard. But aside from that, I don't really remember nothing too crazy about 2K23. Let's go on ahead and see if 2K24 brought us some crazy stuff. Man, oh man, did this game actually bring us some crazy stuff. We were able to throw weapons. We were just able to go crazy. But the best part about it was the match types. They finally returned with special guest referee after so many years, bro. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. Like, when I first saw this, I was like, this is wild. The fact that I can go in there in universe mode, set it up with a special guest referee match was just really cool. I was glad to see this back in the game. And not only that, they surprised us with a casket match, which was actually just crazy to see. Even though I hate the minigame, I will make that very clear. And, you know, just going back, even though it was just a year ago, just seeing the gameplay changes and the match types and what they decided to go on ahead and do with this game just really shows like this was a massive stride in terms of gameplay, in terms of additions. It was just a really good surprise for a lot of players, because we were under the impression that the special guest match and the casket match were the only things being teased. But when we saw an ambulance match in the game, I was like, man, you guys are really going crazy. Again, the mini game for that is what really doesn't do anything for me. The showcase is still in that game. I'm not even going to show no footage, and I didn't even bother going in there and playing because I don't want to see that slingshot mechanic no more, and that's just what it was. My Rise was pretty cool, but again, 2K24 in terms of gameplay, which was my favorite part of this game, just did a spectacular job at bringing a lot of important things in and making this feel like a massive change. What can I say about WWE 2K25? Where do we even start? This game feels just like a combination of every single thing we've seen since 2K22. The graphics, the gameplay, being able to throw weapons, being able to jump on barricades. The game was a welcomed addition to the series, in my opinion. This is my favorite 2K game since 2K14. I'm glad that I was able to experience it. There are some things, of course, wrong with the game, just like every other game that I have talked about in this video. Now, when you look at WWE 2K25, I really believe that it offers the best career mode that we've seen in a really long time. Showcase cutscenes are back, and that was fun to see as well, with a little bit of a twist with different cameras and whatnot. I truly feel like this game really did deliver in some sort. Now, it isn't perfect. This has its problems. Many can argue that the creation suite in past years' games is actually better than what we've seen in this year's game because of all the glitches and the things going wrong with that part of the game. Now, before we go on ahead and get out of here, you guys thought I forgot. The My Faction mode was added in WWE 2K22, and the reason why I say that is because I'm sure that there's somebody that's maybe looking for an evolution of these games, and yes, I didn't mention it, and the reason why is because the servers were down and it didn't allow me to go in, so I thought it wasn't worth mentioning till I can actually show you guys what this mode is about. It's a virtual card collecting mode that allows you to just collect cards, play live events, and do different things, and this was added in 2K22, and it has taken some strides since, and I am enjoying the mode this year. There are, of course, some things wrong with the mode, but for the most part, it has given me a good player experience. Before we go on ahead and get out of here, I want to go on ahead and thank you guys for allowing me to keep you here till this point. I appreciate you guys watching this video and supporting the channel. This is just the beginning of many different things, but again, I do appreciate you. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you guys have been enjoying the content. I'm gonna catch y'all. Peace.